Hello and welcome to our 14th session, and today we are now going to move on to the next section, that is the experiences section. Visual Studio is launched, and if the application is not running, I will type as usual npm run dev and press enter. Now when I control click on this, see, this is going to open in the browser. We are now going to move into this experience section. So for this I will come to Visual Studio Code and section wrapper job is over. I will close it. I will now open my app.jsx file, which is the main file in which we are working. So we completed navbar, hero, about, and we are going to start with experience. So I will control click on this experience, and this experience.jsx file is going to open. And where this file is present, in the source in components, I have this file. I will remove this first sentence of import React from React. I will delete it, and I am going to call import, and in open close flower bracket I am going to call vertical timeline. Say this vertical timeline I am going to call, from which React vertical timeline component. I will press comma, and we are going to call one more component, vertical timeline element. You can see here. So these two components, I will go to view and choose word wrap, so that I have this. Press enter, and now I am going to import again in flower bracket. This time I am going to import motion from framer motion. Come to the end of the line, press enter, and in import one I will call it inside this inverted comma, and the component I am going to call now is React vertical, vertical timeline component. I am going to call this component, and in this component I want to call this style dot min dot css, and then I am going to end it with semicolon. And next, the fourth component, flower bracket styles, and the styles is coming from, it automatically adds with the semicolon. Now the next I want is the actual content. The actual content I am importing it from experiences. So this experiences plural, this is coming from // constants. And next I am going to import the previous session created component, that is this section wrapper, and from where it is coming? It is coming from HOC. Finally, I am going to import text variant, and this text variant is coming from / utils motion. Now the first part of it will be similar to our about.js, because this part, introduction, overview. To save time, what I will do is I will go to about.jsx and I will scroll up, and I am going to select this entire motion div component that we have used here. I will copy this entire thing, and I am going to copy this. Now I will come into experience.jx, and inside the return, the first thing I will do is I will add an empty tag, lesser than greater than sign, and inside this empty tag I am going to press Ctrl V to paste this. And instead of this, I am just going to type my learning journey so far. Add it, and instead of overview I am going to call as, so I will rename it as experience in learning. I am going to save this. So when I save this, you are seeing this added. Only thing is I want this to be aligned just like this. So just like last time, instead of export default, here I am going to call the section wrapper, and inside the section wrapper, inside the bracket, I am first going to call the component which is the experience, and then comma, and I am going to add the name of this, which we are going to call as work, and then end it with semicolon. And if I save this, and now if I refresh it, now you can see that this is aligned correctly. Now coming below this motion div, I am going to create one more div here, and this div I am going to call a class name, which is I will call the class name, I will set it to margin top 20, empty 20, then flex, and flex column, and then inside this div I am going to call the component vertical timeline. So, I am going to call this component vertical timeline, and I will close it with greater than sign. And doing this, if I save this, immediately you are going to now see this line. There are some errors. Let us come to this later. Now, the next thing is we are going to call the experience, and where is this experience? It is coming from in your SRC folder. We had created one constants folder, and in that in the index.js, if you move over here, we have finished nav links, we have finished services, and then we have the experiences are coming from here. See, you can see this experience, and in this case I can rework on these things. Now here it is showing as constant experiences, and you can type your own experiences here. This is a list, and in this list, see the first component, this is one component between this flower bracket, this is the second one, this is the third one, this is the fourth one, and you can even add the fifth one. I will come back to experience. Instead of learning journey, I will make it as technical journey so far. I am going to call this as work experience. And now inside this vertical timeline, now in flower bracket, the same concept we are going to use like the last time. I am going to call this not just experience, it is experiences. I have to call this component and map this component with in open close regular brackets. I am going to add one more open close parenthesis or the regular brackets, and inside this I am going to add the parameter. One parameter is the experience, and another parameter I had here is comma and index. The second parameter I am going to add here is index. I will add equals and greater than sign, and again this function defined by regular parenthesis, not the flower bracket, and press enter. And now for every component that is called here, I am going to call an experience card, which we have not yet defined. I will add a forward slash and close this, and here I am now going to give it a key, and this key is equal to index, and I will close it with flower bracket. And next thing is I will add experience. I will put equals, and in bracket I am going to in flower bracket I will call this experience, and I will close this with the flower bracket. I will close the flower bracket. Now the next job is we have to define this experience card. We are getting a lot of errors now, and the entire site breaks because this experience card is not defined. I will move to the top, and below the import I am now going to define const experience card, and this experience card I am going to now make it equal, and in open close brackets, this is a function, in open close parenthesis bracket I will add one flower bracket, and I am going to call experience, that is singular experience, and then come out of this bracket because this is the parenthesis. Then I am going to add an equal sign and greater than sign, and I will press and add a flower bracket. And now if I save this, so as soon as I save this and refresh this, now even after saving we are still getting an error, because the mistake I have done is, if you scroll down, when I declared in the vertical timeline this map, see the problem is inside the bracket for this experience I have added capital E, and I have to replace it with small e, and if I save it now the site is opening and it is working. So if I refresh it, see now you have no error. I see even one capital or small letter is going to create this issue. So because we have called here the parameter as experience with E capital, and here we had used smaller case, so we were getting the error and I have fixed it. I have to come back to the experience card now. We are now going to call a vertical timeline element. So this vertical timeline element, and I am going to close this tag. So for this I will press enter here. I will move one more space down, and here I will start entering the properties one by one, and the first property I will add is content style, and this content style property will be equal to, inside the square bracket I will add one more square bracket, and inside this square bracket I am going to declare the background color, and this background color colon I am going to declare it in inverted comma. I am going to call hash 1D1836. I am going to use this color, and after this I will come out of this, add a comma, and I am going to call the color after the background color. The font color will be equal to, again in inverted comma, hash FFF. Inside I will try to add some content. So I will press enter here, and inside in flower bracket I am going to call this experience, and this experience small letter, okay, and I am going to call the date. So let us add some more styles here. So after this adding this content style, I will come to next line here, and then I am going to add content arrow style. And for this content arrow style, inside the flower bracket I will add one more flower bracket, and for this I will set its border right. See this border right, I am going to add a colon and set it to, in inverted comma I will set it to 7 pixel space solid color, and the color will be hash 232631. Now in the next line I am going to add date, and this date will be equal to, instead of this inverted comma I will use open close flower bracket, and inside this will be equal to experience dot date. And in the next line I am going to add icon style, and this icon style will be equal to, and in open close flower bracket I will add one more open close flower bracket, and I am going to call this background colon experience dot icon B capital BG. Now after this icon style, let us add the actual icon. I will call the icon, and this icon now will be equal to, and in open close flower bracket we are going to define the icon. I will press enter, and I am going to now add a div. I will close this div, and inside this div I am going to call an img image tag, and I will add forward slash, and I will close this, and inside this image tag we are now going to press enter, and let us add source src of this image, and the source is coming from, I will add this flower bracket, and inside this it is coming from experience dot icon. I will move out of this bracket, and the second thing I will add is alt. The alt name, the alternative name will be equal to, I will remove the inverted comma, and I will add the flower bracket, and inside this is going to come from experience dot company underscore name. And these things, company name and all those things, from where it is coming, if you come to your constants, and in your constant if you come to index.js, here you can see title, company name, icon, icon bg, date and points. So we have these 6 components, and these are the components that we are adding in our card now. So be careful when you write company underscore name here, it should be equal to the name that I have given here. Even here C is not capital, and even here see that C is not capital. Now after this company name, let us also add some classes for this. So I will press enter and I am going to call the class name, and the class I am going to call is, I will set its width equal to, in open square bracket I will set it to 60%, close the flower bracket. Then height also I will set it to 60%, close it the square bracket, and then I am going to use object contain. And now here let us remove this experience date and let us render the actual content. And so for this, inside this vertical element I am now going to call a div, and this div will contain an h3 element, and this h3 element is going to render in open close flower bracket. I am going to call experience dot title, and I am going to close this. I will also add this h3 a few class name. I am going to press space and I am going to call this class name, and I am going to call the class. The first class I will call is text white, and then I will press space and I am going to add text, and I will set its font size in square bracket 24 pixel, and I am going to close this, and then I am going to set the font to bold. And now let us save this, and still I will save this, and still I am not seeing anything over here. So now we have declared this experience card, but this experience card is not returning anything. So to make it return, the thing that I have to make is, instead of using this square bracket here, I use the regular parenthesis here, and similarly I will delete the other one. I will come down here, and this one also I will add the regular parenthesis. And now if I save it, okay, see, just by changing the square bracket into the regular parenthesis bracket, we were able to get the content. So you are getting the logo, you are getting the name, and you are getting the date. Now the first thing is, see, the icons are not appearing correct here. So for this, where are these icons present? The icons are present in this icon, and we had defined one div here, and which defines this img tag. And for this div, I am going to now add some class name, and I am going to declare this flex, and then I am going to call justify center, and then I am going to add items center, and I am going to set its width to full and height to full. And now adding these classes, if I save this, so immediately you can see the icons are now arranged in the right way. Now below this developer post, I have to put the company name where I had worked. So for this, below this h3, I will come in this h3. Below this, I am going to add a p tag, and inside this p tag, now using this flower bracket, open and close flower bracket, I will add it, and inside this I am now going to call this experience component, and from that I will get company underscore name. And if I save it, see, automatically you started to see this. Beautify it and add some classes to it. So for this, in the p tag, I am going to call the class name, and I am going to set this text color to secondary. I will choose the secondary color, and then press space, and I am going to set the text size in square bracket to around 16 pixel, close it with square bracket, and then I am going to set its font to semi bold. And now if I save this, see, the text style change. One thing, I want to reduce the top margin a little. So for this, what I do is, after this semi bold, I will press a space, and I am going to call the style component directly here, will be equal to, in open close flower bracket, inside that I will add one more open close flower bracket, and I am going to call margin, and in colon I will set it to 0, and if I save it, so now below this we have to add all the points. And where are these points? In the index.js, if you come here, we have created another list called points. Using the delimiter comma, we have actually added different points. See, here there are 4 points. In each case we have added these 4 points below this div itself. And now I am going to add ul tag, unordered list, to convert it into bullet points, and I am going to press enter. And for this ul tag I am going to add some classes. So I will press class name, and the classes I am going to add here is, I will set margin top to 5, and then list disk, I will call this list disk. Press space and I will set margin left to equal to 5, and then I will set the space y equal to 2, and inside this flower bracket I will call this experience points has is a list. It has multiple item, and to call every item I am going to call this map, and I will open close the regular bracket parenthesis, and inside this the parameter I will add it with another regular bracket, and inside that the parameter I am going to add is point, and the second parameter is index, and I will come out of this and I am going to add a square equals greater than sign, and again I will add another parenthesis, and then inside this I will add this list component, and inside for this list component, inside the list component, what I am going to render is, in open close flower bracket I am going to render the point. And once I add this and once I save this, see, automatically you are seeing each point appearing over here. But the only thing is, this list also I want to add some classes and beautify it, and for this list what I am now going to do is, I am going to add a key, and this key will be equal to, in open close flower bracket I am going to add the tilde key, and inside the tilde key I will call, because this is a code block, experience point, and this will be, I will add $sign now, and inside the $sign flower bracket I am going to call the index. So this is a code block that I have created, and after this code block I am next going to add class name, and the class names that I am going to call now will be equal to, in open close inverted comma, the first one I will add is text white, and I am going to set it to 100, and then I am going to test the text size to, in square bracket 14 pixel, I will close the flower bracket, and then I will set the PL, that is padding left to 1, and I will set the tracking to be wider. And adding this, if I now save it, you are getting an error, and the error is because, see, this closing parameter should not come after the class. See, this one I will cut it and I have to put it after this index here, and if I save it now, see, the error is gone. So I will just save this now, clear this, and I will reload and test it. Okay, so this is working fine, and if I drag it, you can see automatically how this arranges on the large screen. See, this is how it appears, and on a mobile, see, we have created this component, and this component is now working fine. So with this we have completed our experience section, and our next section is, if you come to App.jsx, the text section.